Wax On Weekly. Wax On Weekly is the official Western Athletic and ASUN Conference podcast of FCS Fans Nation. Wax On Weekly is hosted by Dustin Helton, Brandon Owens, and Will Seiler.
FCS Fans Nation, what's up? Happy Sunday. Happy Selection Sunday to all y'all. So welcome to the MEGALIVE show. Honestly, this is just going to be, I don't want to take from Jamie, but it might be a shit show at this point. But you can see we have our normal Wax On Weekly folks. We got Brandon Owens, got Mr. Will Seiler, not Siller Matt. And you can see we also have Kyler Neal from the Big Boy Show and Eagles Power Hour and everything Big Sky you could ever want to watch. He's on as well. And we should have more podcasters popping in and out. Boys, how are y'all doing this evening?
Stellar.
Glad we have the bracket set now.
Yep. Well, before we get started, let me crack my beer because I'm a little late. But you see I have a little SFA Purple Lights, but I can't really do SFA because they're not in the playoffs. So I gotta put in a playoff team koozie. So I'm gonna pick a team I think is gonna go to Frisco. So don't know if y'all can see that, but we got a little
gross. A
little NDSU.
He's not the only one, Kyler.
a little NDSU. Shout out to Matt Frazee, wherever he is in this world right now. He did give me this last year in Frisco, and it has become. You can bring me an Eastern Washington one, Kyler.
I'll bring you Eastern something. Yeah, maybe this mask up there.
Cool. Well, like I said, we got folks watching already. We're up to 20 real quick. I'm sure we'll have more. We got a lot of comments already, but real quick, before we go in these comments, one, make sure you drop in your comments because we want to answer them. If they're questions, comments about the bracket, who you think you got screwed, because I think we all have opinions on who we think got screwed in the bracket, or if you just want to trash talk anybody, bring it in here too. That's what this one's for this week. Real quick, though, let me run through the bracket just to remind our listeners of how it went. All right, so starting off, and I'm going to basically go to two teams and then the seeded team they're playing. So we got St. Francis versus Delaware, and the winner of that goes to Brookings and plays South Dakota State. We got Fordham against New Hampshire. The winner of that goes to Holy Cross. Yeah.
Hey, yes.
Yes. Epic. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend, the boss man. All right.
Matt, this team still owns you.
Sorry, am I covering up my star? Oh my goodness, I'm sorry.
Tweak this a bit. It's as good as me wearing the bear head.
Is that okay?
That might be better than the bear head, to be honest with you. All right. Well, there he is. Let's let him get his headphones back on. That was well worth the intro. Oh, that's even better. It's even better.
It's disgusting.
That's awesome. Well, Matt, I don't know if you saw this, but I took my SFA beer, but put it in the koozie of a team that
I did see that
going to Frisco. So shout out to you.
I did see that. That was pretty cool.
All right, going through the rest of the bracket. We got Gardner Webb playing Eastern Kentucky, the shirt I'm repping tonight. Winner of that plays William and Mary, and we got the Fighting United States Postal Service. North Dakota. Playing Weber State, and the winner goes and plays Montana State. On the other side of the bracket, you got Southeast Missouri State facing Montana. The winner of that goes and plays North Dakota State. Idaho and Southeastern Louisiana. Winner of that plays Stanford. Elon and Furman. The winner plays Incarnate Word. Davidson and Richmond. And the winner of that goes and plays Sacramento State. So a very interesting bracket. It was very interesting to watch it live. So we I think some of these questions got brought up, but I'm going to say it now. Montana should not have been in the playoffs.
No, they should not have.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, they should not have. UTC should have taken their place. You don't think so, Kyler?
Nope. When I did my bracket last night, I had a really hard time putting Montana out. And guys, none of you dislike Montana more than me. So before you say bias, I don't like the Big Sky. I don't like Montana. There's nothing I would have wanted to have Montana out. The difference is every single team that probably should have or shouldn't have lost on the last week ended up losing, and it kind of created an opportunity for Montana to slide in. Their losses are only to literally top 10 teams, right? Top 15. They did not lose to a Western Carolina, who's a bad team. That's kind of the difference. And then for the most part, I mean, they beat all the teams Youngstown State did by a lot more. All the bad teams, they were blowing out by 40, 50 points. I mean, that's kind of the difference. So it's one of those things. I had a really difficult time trying, and I was trying my best to leave Montana out of this bracket, and I couldn't find a reason to.
So
okay. So let's take the top team, because in the first 4 out, they had the teams in order. The next team up would have been Austin Peay. Austin Peay's resume is way better than Montana's.
And what's their strength of schedule?
That's a good point.
I'm finding that now.
Yeah. Montana's got the strength of schedule, but to the point, I get that too. But strength of schedule is going to go to Montana, but at the same time, who did Montana win? Montana
exactly. Montana beat nobody.
Montana does not have a win against the playoff team this season.
Right, but if you listen to the Sam Herder committee chair, he literally said we're going to take in how a team loses, also take into account injuries, and they literally said Montana went toe-to-toe with Weber State and Sac State with the second string quarterback, and there was a questionable call at the end of the game. The committee AD chair was kind of hinting at they're not counting that as a true loss. So, I mean, if you listen to the Sam Herder podcast, you kind of knew this was going to happen as long as chaos happened at the end of the week, and every single team that needed to lose lost, and that's the only reason why Montana's in there.
Montana with strength of schedule of 10th
17.
according to Massey. That's where I'm at, and I have 31st for Austin Peay is where he said.
So another question, another team that I think folks have heard folks try to justify that should have been in the playoffs, even though I totally disagree with it, is Northern Iowa, even though they were 6-5 because of the schedule.
Why?
Because of it's the same thing. It's the same reason you look at it's their strength of schedule, and it's also a little bit of conference bias.
The bubble was too big to even consider.
That was my thought too, and I think that's the same reason why Davis got host.
Yep.
I think Davis would have been a great playoff team. The bubble is just too big this year.
If Davis just played a bad team instead of South Dakota State at the beginning of the year, they're in over Montana. I mean, they would 100% get in, but unfortunately, they played South Dakota State, and it gave them one less win.
Yep.
And that's the thing is what really drives me nuts is, and this all blew up in my face today when everything seemed like it went off emotion and eye test instead of resume. But I hate when it's all justified based off of like, look at the losses. Now, eventually you get to that point where you have to look at the losses, but like you and I would be a good example, or UC Davis would be a really good, pure example of when they talk about them, it's like, look at the losses, look at the losses. I felt that way about NDSU. People were like, well, they only lost to Arizona and SDSU by this, but nobody talks about the close win to Indiana State or SIU or others. I like to focus more on the wins, but apparently I don't know how the committee thinks at all because I did not do well in terms of where they were going to seed. I was very thrown off.
I was very, very shocked that they were a 3 seed. And I guess it kind of makes sense because they're splitting up the bracket, like how they're trying to split the bracket and stuff. But that still surprised me how high they were. And I'm pretty sure Jackrabbit fans hate it because it does set up the potential for a marker rematch in Frisco.
Yeah.
And they hate that. I want to address this comment because it's really funny. Clown Show, Jacksonville State and their homemade trophy. Let's talk about that. Brandon, you want to talk about that, or Will? Do you want to talk about the fact that
you're so stupid?
I saw it in person.
So dumb and stupid.
It's a very poorly made trophy too. It's like, I don't know. It looks like a granite countertop, and they put Jack State on it instead of Jacksonville State University or anything like that. I don't know. It's whatever.
I've seen these folks that are like they went undefeated in conference. That's great. You also were playing, solitaire of the deck of 85.
Exactly.
Right? Like you have more scholarships. You have more players. I mean, granted, I heard we redshirted a lot of them. That's still great. You still had at least 10 more active scholarships. Like you didn't deserve a title. Like you're Danny Almonte in Little League. Like that just leave it alone. But the fact that you made a trophy and the fact that you're making shirts, that's pretty damn pathetic, guys.
I think it's a perfect transition to the FBS. Listen, the FCS is the land of the true playoff and one true champion. And I think that's our brand, right? But the FBS is bowl games in the Potato Bowl, UCF hanging banners because they didn't get a shot to play for the Natty. So you know what, Jacksonville State, go off, have a good time, claim the title, and put the trophy in the trophy case. You can take it. I'm all about it.
It's so dumb.
It's FBS,
so dumb and
baby.
stupid.
It looks like such a corporate trophy.
They made shirts, they made that trophy, and the team is getting rings.
Like, I thought Sam Houston getting rings for winning the last Bell Piney Woods is pretty lame, but this might be on top of it, like the lamest thing I've ever seen. But your fans, I will say the Jacksonville State fans, and this is no sort of indication of you, Brandon, but your fans, man, the Jacksonville State fans are just, they're clowns. They all of them are clowns. The one who called Will a bitch at 5 a.m. on Twitter, like.
I don't claim a majority of them. I don't know a majority of them. Like, no. Even if I know them,
I'll give them this. I'll give you this. For an FCS fan base other than Montana, very engaged on Twitter last night. My engagement
for the first time this season.
My engagement numbers went through the, like, if you go look at my, like, the graph over the last, 6 months, it's like, okay, right here, pew! I mean, it's nuts.
You're like Dogecoin, basically. You went to the moon. And
bought some stock in my Twitter account last night about 7:30.
Will every single year puts one little caliber in the chamber and he tries to piss off one fan base. I remember it was Montana a few years back.
Yep.
So, I mean, it just happened to be Jackson State last night. I love it.
I have a flawless strategy. Anytime people get mad at me, I go, actually, that's Will Siller's opinion. And then they can't find him because it's not pronounced right.
It was all a plan the whole time.
And nobody gets harmed. It works every single time. It's perfect.
Wow, somebody, Brandon, I'm just gonna let you read this comment and let you decide if you want to.
Yeah, I just want to know what does that mean? I mean, if you mean that I'm chilling, laid back, and I don't really care that much. I mean, I care, but this isn't the be-all and end-all of Jacksonville State University, especially for, the reason I went to Jacksonville State University. It's not my be-all and end-all. I do this just for fun.
Here's a question for you. This is from the Taco King. Glad he's on. It's for you, Brandon. SCSU or NDSU or the rest of the field? Also, he gets some credit back from me for trashing on the homemade trophy.
Y'all saw my bracket on Facebook and Twitter. I actually have the national championship being the Dakota marker, and I have SDSU winning.
That's so much more reasonable than your original bracketology.
No, I agree. I'm sorry, it's a little cold in my house. It's cold for Texas. That's not a hot enough take to warm up yet. So, Kyler, what do you think on this question?
Oh man, yeah, it's going to be hard for me to take the field right now. I think South Dakota State's by far the best team in the nation. Then, of course, you can't discredit North Dakota State in December, right? No one wants to play them. So, yeah, no, I'm taking the Dakota over the field right now.
I wanted so bad to pick Incarnate Word over NDSU in the semis, but the stats I just couldn't go against the stats. I couldn't go against the facts.
Can't go against history, really.
Yeah, we'll stop sharing your screen real quick because we got another guest in here. Real quick, let's just bring him in. There he is.
Hey,
yo.
How's it going, boys?
Good, Brendan. I know your answer to this, but SCSU, NDSU, or the field in Frisco?
Actually, if I'm forced to take NDSU in there, if Sac State can keep its act together, I'm actually going to go against the grain there, especially with the news that just dropped about the transfers in Fargo.
Oh, there is a comment about that in here somewhere.
Did you guys talk about that yet?
No,
not yet.
Yeah, that's a huge deal in my eyes.
That might have thrown a wrench into my entire bracket.
Yeah, so Josh,
I mean, I'm not saying now they're a bad team or anything, but man, you're losing one of your best corners, and yeah, he's a depth running back, but he's a really, really good running back, and then one of your playmaking receivers, which there aren't many of on that roster. That's a big deal.
Okay, but also, tell me this. So you remember the quarterback from Florida last year that entered the portal and then played the bowl game? He played the last game of the year. Can you do that still? Can you play the season out?
They won't play the season out because the window officially will open tomorrow for a 45-day period.
Okay.
So for those 45 days, that's your opportunity to really obviously get onto a different roster. So yeah, NDSU is the big victim of this now, but you're going to see this in the FCS moving forward because players are going to have to be competitive against their
Signing
counterparts of people who, somebody on Western Carolina that's going to enter the portal. Siegel and these other guys are going to have to be competitive to go get a good opportunity.
Isn't one of these guys a baseball player too?
Yeah, Dom Ganella won't surprise me if he actually. Number one, I think Marquise is the big loss because he is really going to be was going to be a corner 1, corner 2 to start next year. He was very highly ranked throughout PFF every game. That's a big loss as a corner. I don't really see the other two as much as, Dom Ganella is a great guy. Wish him the best of luck, but he hasn't made any impact in terms of on the field play. That's been like anything like Hunter Lipke or some of these other guys. And then DJ Hart was definitely going upwards, but NDSU with wide receivers, I don't know. Christian Watson's the only one that's been like the guy. Even when Darius Shepard was injured throughout some weeks, NDSU was still able to get the passing game going, and they're going to rely on the run. So I think the reason it won't be as detrimental right now in this playoffs is because the entire Bison starting secondary is all seniors right now. Now, next year, they're going to have to replace that with a lot of youth. So I don't know if that would tweak you guys to pick anything different. I think they're the same team they are now as they were with those guys on and off the field. Maybe I'm being a little bit whatever about it as a Bison fan, but until the armor is really broken, we'll see how it goes. I still think anybody could beat them just as easily as they would have before, regardless of these transfers. Kind of where my head's at with the whole thing.
No, I personally think you're being very rational about it because your roster is. I said that I thought you had the deepest roster in FCS. I still think that's true. So I think it's easily.
Yeah, I think Incarnate Word or some of these other teams could beat NDSU with these guys on the roster, if that makes sense. So, but I don't think it's going to be detrimentally a difference maker if NDSU ultimately does lose. I still think SDSU is the best team and all these other factors, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
So with these 3 players like entering the transfer portal, is it possible NDSU runs out of steam early?
No, not so much because I don't think let's just go through the matchups of who they could see. Is Montana, they're going to have to stop NDSU's run the way they tried to stop Montana State's. And so is a wide receiver going to be that impactful? And they've still got 4 other running backs back there. Probably not going to have much impact. And then I think it's once you get to an Incarnate Word or something like that, and it's a true pure shootout, could you run out of firepower if the defense is not playing up to par? So that's maybe where you see some impacts.
So probably
you need everything under the sun to beat South Dakota State because you haven't been able to do it in forever. So maybe this has a small impact against South Dakota State and Frisco if they meet up, which if that happens, you guys have seen the last couple matchups to include this year, every single thing will matter. So that's where you could see impact.
Okay, careful about South Dakota State because Brendan's head won't fit in the screen if you keep fluffing him like that. So let's just.
So what if NDSU meets Idaho in the quarters?
I don't know if Idaho is going to come into the Fargo Dome against NDSU's rising front 7 and a full senior secondary and that big offensive line and be able to beat NDSU this year. So
X always beat them.
X always pulled it off.
Yeah. X got their number.
X going to give it to him.
X going to give it to him. He liked one of my tweets today too. So
that was pretty cool.
Anything can happen in the playoffs. I'm just more of an odds guy. And are these teams going to go in to Fargo and get the W the way we're seeing things? I heard the same things last year as NDSU just rolled through everything. And it's a different roster. It's a different year, but you got to give me factors of why Idaho could beat NDSU. If it's 3 transfer portal players, 2 that are major depth guys, then NDSU is not winning a title anyways. There's a good one right here. Samford over NDSU, a killer offense that could cause NDSU problems. Again, Samford's going to have to stop North Dakota State, and North Dakota State's going to put up 30-some points. And NDSU's strength on defense is going to be, again, a secondary, which is riddled with nothing but starting seniors and juniors across the board, and a front 7 and a really, really loud Fargo Dome. So I don't know, maybe. And I thought Samford should have been ranked higher than NDSU. But
honestly, I don't think Samford gets past the second round.
That was going to be my next question. So if we look
especially with who I have them playing, but even either team, I don't think Samford beats them.
Yeah. So that was my next question. Out of the top 8 seeds, who do you see not winning their first game?
Holy Cross.
2,
Holy Cross.
3. I have 3. 4.
Jesus.
I have 4 of the seeds not advancing into
God.
quarters.
I could see Montana State not winning their first one either. I mean,
Yeah.
They probably
won
got the
because-
toughest draw.
That's
They
a
do have the
brutal
toughest
draw. They got the Sac State of last year draw.
Yeah.
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 Speaking of Sac State, I have Sac State losing in the second round.
To who?
Richmond.
No, I no.
Maybe.
Not a chance.
Ryan's got a good quarterback.
I do the bracket challenge every year, and I always await Brandon Owens because I'm like, when this sucker comes through, this is like listen, I'm betting against the house no matter what in virtually every matchup.
I didn't do that though. I actually went and spent almost 2 to 3 hours putting my bracket together, looking at stats.
Yeah, it'll be. I did see your final. I liked your final prediction. I think you had SDSU beating NDSU by 7. But like that's a really good question, Rev. You brought up of like who could actually get upset. You know, just kind of going off the eye test or common sense stuff. Like, could you see Elon or could you see Furman beating Incarnate Word? Possibly. Could you see Montana beating NDSU? Possibly. Is South Dakota State going to lose from who's behind them? No. Montana State, could they lose to Weber? Yeah, maybe. I could see it.
Yeah.
So, like, I think there is a lot more possibilities than people realize. And you can't just look at the top 8 seeds this year after the selection show and go, oh, man, they look like they're going to win their quarters, their semis. When all year, I think all of us have been like, I don't know if I trust many of these teams in the playoffs, including my own. Because we've all had a thumper down there, myself. We've all had heart attacks against teams we thought we should play a lot better against.
No, we didn't, because we didn't play good versus anyone.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't know what this feels like.
Sorry, guys. I'm warming my hands off of Brandon's hot take there with all the people he thinks he could lose. It's getting warmer now. I like it. No, to me, like, I think Montana State honestly has one of the best chances of getting upset. I mean, that game when they played Weaver the first time, I mean, you know, if they could just keep snaps under control, it could have been a whole complete different game. You never know.
The only thing about that game, Montana State seems like they're getting better as the season goes on, and Weber State's kind of, I don't want to say regressing, but they've stayed pretty stagnant. Their offense is starting to look worse. They are starting to get a little more injured, and now Montana State's finally fully healthy, which is crazy. They've been riddled with injuries. Second-string quarterbacks, fourth-string running backs. They're finally healthy going into the playoffs for the first time all season.
Yeah,
I have a tough time now, which, you know, if you asked me 3 weeks ago, would I pick Weber over Montana State? I would have said absolutely. It's kind of swaying the other way for me right now.
The crazy thing, I'm thinking about teams, about how far they go, and I know, Kyler, you're very high on Incarnate Word. The thing is, Incarnate Word plays in the Southland. There's no D in that conference, and they, you know, I mentioned to see what happens when they match up against a team who can actually play defense. And now that's not anything against the good doctor, Lindsey Scott Jr., because I mean he is putting up, you know, Madden numbers on everybody. But it reminds me kind of those years you would see. I don't want to bring up Sam Houston, but I mean it's like reminds me of the time like you see when SFA had Jeremy Moses, he was ripping apart defenses, and then they got boat raced by Villanova in the playoffs. You see Sam Houston, who's ripping apart defenses, and then they get boat raced by James Madison in the playoffs. Like, I wonder if we're going to see a similar situation with Incarnate Word, that they haven't. I mean, they're players, if I'm not mistaken, Northwestern State was the furthest that they've played in a game this season. And in terms of their starters, right? They didn't bring in the backups at halftime. They kept the starters in into the fourth quarter, and some Demon fans were getting upset about that. I mean, I don't know if you're going to go to the playoffs, you got to give your guys some time. So, I mean, to me, they seem like the team that I don't think they'll lose their first game, but I think they have the potential to come to a very abrupt halt the round after that.
My only rebuttal for that is not one team has even scored half pretty much against Southern Illinois as what Incarnate Word did. And then, of course, against like Nevada, who is a very bad FBS team, Incarnate Word's offense put up more points than any other team played against Nevada. So it's kind of, I don't think it's the same as these Sam Houston things, because also if you're watching, Incarnate Word's resting people by halftime. They could be putting up 120 points against everyone they've played pretty much all year, which has been insane. I mean, Lindsey Scott, if you look at it, he's only played, I think, 6 or 7 total games of actual time, and he's put up 50-something touchdowns.
Yeah.
So just looking at some like the other teams, no one else is doing that versus the teams that they're playing against, which makes me believe I don't think it's just because the Southland has bad defense, which it does, 100% does. I think they are a legit offensive team.
So you think this is like an exception to the rule that you have to have defense to like win deep into the playoffs? I mean, they've got a defense. It's not terrible, but
no, it's not a bad defense, but it's just their offense hasn't played a good defense this year.
But we had a defense as the number 4 seed in 2017, and New Hampshire came to Conway and
again
beat us pretty good. So
again, it's I think it's the Southland syndrome. You know what I mean? Like you get a bit inflated because of who you played, and then you actually play some tougher caliber schools. Like, let's be honest, if New Hampshire played in the Southland that year, they would have probably ran the table and went undefeated.
But is Lindsey Scott, is he as much of a runner as like an EB3 and some of the others? Because like Jeremiah Briscoe and others that would put up just the big stats and they were great QBs and all this, they were still more one-dimensional. And then, you know, throwing 50 touchdown passes but not having a mobility factor really doesn't strike fear against a really good defense in the FCS. So
I think he has
is Lindsey Scott
yards.
So is he super dual threat, I guess would be my question.
He can do whatever. I mean, I watched him live. It's pretty impressive. Winning in Conway isn't difficult.
Again, I don't claim this fan as a
Hey, so listen.
I'll claim this fan.
Listen, look. I will tell you this now. The shadier your comment is, the faster it's going to get put up here. All right, bring the shade.
Dude, it took like 4 years after the stripes were installed before we lost a game on them. So
I know, because people finally got their eyes fixed after going blind on them the first time they were on them. Like, they look a lot better now than they did the first time.
Ghost stripes.
Ghost stripes. For Will, hold on. Oh,
thanks, Brian.
From Brian.
Love you, buddy. I want to make a taco bet with him. I just don't know what it is.
Well, let's think of one by the end of the show because he can comment if he wants to agree or not. Here's a good one since I'm repping their shirt. The Colonels, they get a good draw, a home game with Gardner-Webb. Potential future ASUN conference?
I think Eastern got a great draw.
Yeah. Like it, and I like EKU. Like I was saying that out of the teams with how big the bubble was last week, I didn't think they would get in. But I like EKU. I like Parker McKinney. I think Parker McKinney is a very undervalued quarterback in terms of the production he can put up and what he's done for that team. I would not be surprised if EKU makes a decent run deep into the playoffs. Like, they have a very well-balanced team. You know, they can run the ball, they can throw the ball, and they have a pretty damn good defense.
So here's the next question. If Montana State loses and EKU somehow beats William and Mary, who hosts? Because that'll determine if EKU loses or wins.
You're saying who'd you say if beats Montana State? Weaver?
Yeah.
And who's beating Bill and Mary?
EKU.
So do they rebid or does it go back?
Yeah, you do. They do. They rebid, I believe, for the next round of games if it comes down to that. I've only seen that happen once or twice. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. The thing is, Weber, they've got
I don't think they rebid. I think
is it the bid? Is it
I don't think they do.
No, but I mean, they bid for every round prior. Like, they already have their bids.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
They got the bids in there. Yep.
If I know the EKU admin, they probably put up hella money to try to get games, because they love playing at Roy Kidd. They love the atmosphere they built there. So I would bet EKU.
I don't know. I mean, Weber, they outbid UND. Like, Weber's been to the playoffs. They've been through this rodeo a bunch. So I don't think they put in some soft bid. I think sometimes people forget that teams that have experience in the playoff process do things better when it comes to bidding and things like that. That's why Weber has a home game. And in Eastern Kentucky, they might have forgot something, or what they think is a good bid isn't a good bid. You know, so we have a lot of people who go, oh, they're going to bid a lot of money, and then they don't get a home game. It happens all the time. And it's an experienced team that they're against.
Yeah. So theoretically, could
Eastern outbid them last year. Like, my little Eastern school outbid UNI. That was pretty crazy.
So theoretically, could you put all your money into a first round game and say okay, we'll bid big on a first round game and then nothing on a second round game?
You have a minimum each round. There's a minimum you have to put in place to basically cover the expense of the traveling team. That's pretty much what it is. But I mean, you could bid a minimum and just put all of your money in the first round if you want, as long as you're bidding minimums. But you're just not going to get a second round game, even if there's chaos.
Yeah, the NCAA is a casino.
Yeah.
The house ain't losing money.
No, the house always wins. And my favorite thing to see is when you look at attendance for the first round, and it's very underreported by the schools because they pay off what their attendance is. I remember when SFA played Villanova, there was probably 12,500 folks in the stand, and SFA recorded an attendance of 4,400 to lower what they had to pay out. So it's great. Watch the attendance totals next weekend, and then watch the game and look at the crowd. And I bet you they don't match by any means.
Dude, Thanksgiving weekend crowds always suck, though.
They're horrible.
Right.
Or at least for us, they do.
Oh, no, everyone outside of probably Montana. It's going to be, yeah.
They have nothing else
I don't know. The only time that we played in the second round or in the first round, we still had about 12,000. Shut up.
Humble brag.
Was that the game you lost? No, that was when you were a seed and you lost to Kansas. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember all the times you failed in the playoffs, Brandon. It's kind of hard. I mean, I can't talk trash. My school's
all but 2015.
All but 2015.
Rev, I gotta ask old Thumper here a question.
Of course.
As he's enjoying the milk. Thumper and I have talked many times where I've been more confident than him for his Jackrabbits in many scenarios. And he always comes back to me and goes, listen, we haven't had the 9 championships where you're just la-di-la, we've lost weird games, so I have to cover my heart. Okay, so I'm going to throw another one at you. Are you telling me as an SDSU fan, when you look at the corners, at least to get to the semis, you're looking at the teams that you could face and you're nervous? I can't imagine being nervous. I cannot imagine a scenario.
To get to the semis?
To get to the semis, I cannot imagine a scenario as, let's say, it's NDSU's in that corner. It was like 2017 when NDSU's route dropped, and I said, wow, Frisco. To the semis.
Do you want to see it? Do we want to show it?
Yeah, there's no way.
I don't feel bad about it. I mean, I don't know.
And this, let me just say, this is a good thing because this is what the 1 seed should have. You know what I mean? This is how it should be.
I mean, up until the potential Montana State in the semis, because Vegan just has been the goddamn boogeyman for SDSU. But outside of that, I mean, if we're talking about that, when is the last time a power or big 3 team has gotten lined up with 2 straight matchups with Patriot League teams in a row? I've never seen that before. And that's what New Hampshire has.
Well, when's the last time 2 Patriot League?
They're a 1-bid conference, so it's probably not happened in a long time. Yeah,
right. I think 2015 is the last time you had 2 Patriots. Let me do some research quick.
No, it's 2015. You're good. You don't need to research.
If you were to look through, a soft route from the first round on, that's a hell of a start for New Hampshire. They should be able to waltz to Brookings in theory if the CAA is as good as certain publications, like one with Joe, the name rhymes with Schmelium or something, talking about how good the CAA is. If that's true, some hack broadcast like that, they should just waltz into Brookings, which would be 2 CAA teams in a row.
Look who we have.
Here's a fun fact for everybody.
It's garage time already, isn't
Garage time.
Garage time.
I'm glad that you most all get that.
It's all I say now. I said it the other day to somebody who has no idea what it meant, and they're like, "Do you mean garbage time?" I was like, "No."
I haven't made my Frisco shirt. I was gonna do the Sock Lukey one, but then they just collapsed. I might just do a garage time, just to wear a shirt that says garage time the entire weekend there. So, by the way, Ariel asked where Joe or Sean. They're probably drunk somewhere. That's where they probably are.
Yeah. I don't know.
We just referenced them on our show too.
Quite handle his liquor in Brookings.
Yeah, he had a tough time. I threw him a shot of Fireball at 9 in the morning at tailgate and
put him over the edge, Brendan.
We saw it quickly.
So what are you guys talking about here?
We're just talking.
You came in at the right time.
You came at the right time though.
It's the right time because Matt Frazee threw it out there saying that Thumper's always covering his heart too much because he's like, I can't think. We can't think like Bison fans because we haven't had all the championships where you can just be whatever about it. I said, there's no way you can't be unbelievably confident looking at your quarter and saying at least at a minimum, we're going to the semifinals. Like if I had that quarter, I'd be like, we're going to get there.
I don't see how the teams that we're up against would beat us at home. That's just my honest opinion.
Yeah, I really can't see how you guys are challenged up to that point. And like I said earlier, it's a good thing because that's how the 1 seed should feel in comparison to the 4 and the 5 seed down there on the other bottom. Good luck to those folks.
Now, should have the Bison got the seed they did? That's a different question.
Absolutely not. I am the most confused human on planet Earth with the seeding. You guys saw me on Twitter. I was the one telling you SDSU fans, there's no way you're the 1. And I was telling NDSU fans, there's no way you're the 4.
Yeah.
And they're the 3. Kyler, you guys got to talk to Kyler. He's the one who had it pegged.
I mean, yeah, for the most part, but I just also don't think it's that big of a deal. You're getting the same matchups in the semis anyway. And then the rest of the games outside the seeds are regional anyway. So they would have lined up pretty much how they were. So, I mean, sure, you get Sanford instead of if you scroll down there and get someone else. But I think maybe Incarnate Word is tougher than Sanford. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't see much of a difference. I mean, you're still playing the same semifinal teams if you win out that you were gonna if they seeded it correctly anyway, or what most people thought was correct. So, yeah.
I mean, apparently there was NDSU players so upset that they felt they needed to leave the team over it.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
That's why you guys brought me on, right? For the comic relief. If it isn't for Rev, you got me. So
for comic relief and proper spelling, that's what we get out of each.
Yeah, not the second part so much. And,
so Matt,
and if you leave it to autocorrect, then it's just the wrong word.
So Matt, there's a question for you. I'll find it because I can't find where it went. But
yeah, I'm still recovering from what was just said, so I might need a minute.
I'm gonna.
Sorry, I love you, Matt. I do.
Right now, the Sac State concern you if you make the semis.
Be real, Matt. Be honest, Matt, and just say what you want to say. No, they don't concern me.
You want me to be
piece of shit.
This is a safe space.
Unbiased Bison end.
This is a tree of trust. Tree of trust. Safe space.
You want the
piece of shit. Come on.
This is a safe space, man.
You want the most biased Matt Frazee that can possibly exist.
We just want the realist Matt.
I want the most savage Matt Frazee.
I want group chat Matt Frazee.
And everybody knows that our laughs mean something.
For the love of God, please don't let us play South Dakota State. Besides that, I look forward to hosting the national championship trophy.
Wow.
Hosting it or hoisting it? Oh. You got auto-corrected.
Well, if there's security on the field, I'm still running on it. There's proof or not proof, maybe not. No, seriously. That's such a douchey answer. In all honesty.
And there's a comment to go with it. So.
Just wanted my real thoughts on that is that I think NDSU would line up well against Sac State because it's strength versus strength, and you really got to prove to me that you're going to be able to out NDSU with that running game and everything else. And the fact that it would be going to, honestly, this is going to sound crazy, warm weather, California, I would not fear as much in comparison to going to Montana State or SDSU. And I think that would play a factor. So I think that's a good matchup for NDSU to go to. If they were to go to Brookings,
rebuttal?
Yeah, what do you got?
What did you say? Strength versus strength. NDSU's weakness right now, and it's been proven and it's on the stats, is your run defense. That's the only thing good Sac State's good at this year. Every team's ran on you guys that can run the ball. Any top 50 team has run. So what is this strength on strength? Yes, I would bet on the Bison. But I'm just saying, what is this strength on strength that you're referring to? Because it is not the same. Normally, it's your run defense is elite, just like SDSU's this year. And your passing defense has like really good players and they're hit and miss, but they're overall pretty good shutdown corners. This year, it's like YSU ran on you. Everyone's ran on you who can run the damn ball.
Yep.
Sac State runs the ball better than anyone you have played this year.
I maintain to include the South Dakota State game that the front seven continues to play really, really, really well and continues to elevate. And I think it's showing in the statistics and other things. The defense itself is playing better. You know, yeah, they choked up against South Dakota State bad, but it was 3 bend don't break field goals. It wasn't like touchdowns there at the end while the offense did nothing. And, against SIU, they let them score and prevent at the end. Otherwise, that's only giving up 10 points. And UND, yeah, they had a drive or two. They didn't play well, but I just think they're playing a lot better. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Just had to troll you a little bit.
And Entz did say this week in his press conference, right, that Eli Mostert has a chance to be back in the playoffs still. So
yeah, that would
greatly improve. Here comes the playoff Bison.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You don't bet against NDSU when it comes to the playoffs. Like earlier this year, I remember people were talking about, are they weak this year? Are they down? I'm like, no, because they get hot in December. They make insane catches like they did against North Dakota Saturday. They get their shit together when it comes to the playoffs. So it's very hard to bet against the Bison. I do want to get away from the Missouri Valley. Sorry, I know half this crew is Missouri Valley people, but I want to hit this comment right here from our buddy Chris Hammond. It says, "Let's go Vandals. Heck yeah. See you soon." So Chris Hammond is going to Hammond, USA to go watch Idaho play Southeastern Louisiana. So who you got?
Well, I think I'm going to go with
game?
Chris. If he flies down to Houston instead, I'm going to drive down with Chris. So
you're going to go to that game?
If he flies to Houston, I'm not meeting him halfway, or I'm not driving to Louisiana by myself. I don't know what's.
You got to go see Danny Johnson.
You got to go see
Danny.
Oh, I'll see Danny. But
dude, Hammond America is so fun.
Yeah,
what a place.
You guys watch the B team enough to know what a 50 Butterburger is?
Yeah.
This
that
is
in
our
your
50
Twitter.
Butterburger.
This is a 50 Butterburger
of the
50
playoffs.
Butterburger.
Sponsored by Culver's. Thank you.
So
Brookings in Watertown, South Dakota.
Shout out Drake's place too. I saw he's on the chat, so shout out.
So
hey, we love our sponsors.
Yeah, some of y'all always have sponsors. All right, so go on. So again, Idaho or Southeastern Louisiana? Who you got?
Idaho.
Idaho.
I have no faith in Southeastern Louisiana. I don't. I know they beat Incarnate Word, but outside of that game, I don't know what have they done that
beat JSU.
I was gonna say they beat the crap out of Jacksonville State at home.
They did, and they beat Incarnate Word.
I know they beat. I just said that.
Yeah, just reminding people.
What did they literally said that.
What did they do besides beating Incarnate Word?
They just beat Incarnate Word. They beat Incarnate Word. That's it. That's all. That's all that matters. Yeah, sure. They beat Jacksonville State, but no one gives a shit about them. So, yeah.
Okay, but hold on.
Wow,
we love Chris Hammond, and we love the story of Idaho. So Idaho beat the Grizz, right? Who on this panel thought the Grizz should have made the playoff? Okay, everyone's like, all right, maybe one of you. Okay, who thought Incarnate Word should be in the playoff? Obviously, everyone's like, yeah, all right. Southeastern Louisiana took that. And besides that, I don't see across Idaho's resume where, besides like some close FBS losses in the beginning of the year, and Southeastern Louisiana's is at home, so I don't think that can be undervalued. I don't know. I think I'd take the Lions in this matchup. I think I'd take SLU.
I don't think it'll be a 50 Butterburger. I think it'll be closer. I think it'll be a good game, but I think Idaho could win. I don't know. There's something about Eck, man.
They're more complete.
Yeah.
He has them ready for those kind of games too. So,
how do NDSU fans feel if Idaho makes it all the way to Fargo?
Oh, I think that's going to be awesome because then Chris gets to stay with me. But the game itself,
I think kryptonite, right?
100%. I think people would think about Eck a lot. Like they would be like, "Oh crap, the mastermind is coming here."
Yeah.
NDSU fans hate him.
I don't know if Eck would have. We would have to reinforce the glass to make sure no coaches throw anything at the end of the game.
Wrong coach.
That's taken care of, Those shopping mall windows are not cheap, guys,
Hey,
we paid for it.
You can afford them on a South Dakota State coach's salary, assistant coaches.
My thought on the Southeast Louisiana Idaho game is that Southeast Louisiana, they beat Incarnate Word, like Brendan said. They beat Jacksonville State. They also lost to Texas A&M Commerce. They lost to a transition team coming in. Like,
thank you. There it is.
I think Idaho is a much more complete, just overall team. Like it is hard to travel. It's hard to travel that far, especially to go. But weather's not going to be a factor. It's not going to be insanely hot. It's not going to be cold. It's going to be Southeastern Louisiana in November, which means probably in the 60s and probably raining. I think Idaho will probably handle that without any issue.
Southeastern Louisiana's total defense is 59th, and then you look at Idaho's very impressive there with 23rd. But 59th in being a kind of a high-powered offense conference, maybe not as bad as we think it is.
Sure.
Where last year was a complete detriment. I don't know. That's going to be a good matchup either way. So I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. Whoever wins.
One thing I kind of think about too with Idaho right now is they are playing for something a little greater than themselves, the tragedy that happened on campus, and they are definitely leaning into that. I don't want to say they're using it, but they're leaning into it. They put carnations and balloons in the seats. Coach Eck mentioned it when he was talking to the team about playing for their campus community and things like that. So, sometimes there's weird deals like that, right? In sports where you find this motivation to play for something greater than yourself. And that can maybe reel off a few wins, not saying, but just saying. So,
yep. No, I totally agree with you there. And we're seeing that with EKU also with their coach having a heart attack and basically dying and then coming back to the thing. I want to hit a couple comments. First of all, we got Facebook user saying, "What up, guys? It's been a while." Same to you, Facebook user. Have no clue who you are, but good to see you, whoever you are.
Thank you, random citizen.
Gotta love Facebook.
Facebook user, man, you're my, I think you've added me on Facebook, so it's good.
It's Michael Curtis.
Oh, is it?
He might be Russian.
All right, let's see. Non-MVFC question. Can William & Mary make it to Frisco? And which CAA team can make Frisco? I'm going to tell you this right now. None.
Oh, I wish Jamie Williams was here. Jamie Williams loves.
That's why I said that, because Jamie's not here.
He would say no.
Jamie's old and in bed, so that's why I said.
I'd let you know if I could watch them, but they're on Flow Sports. So nobody
Golf flat.
William & Mary probably has the best shot, but they just run a similar offense to Montana, Montana State, just not as effective. And the CA has a lot of good teams. They just don't have any great teams. I think they have kind of like William & Mary is probably their great team. Do they match up well with the South Dakota State? Probably not. Who can shut down anyone's run game? Would I pick them over Montana State? Probably not, especially traveling to Montana State. Yeah, I think that's your best bet, and it's not a good bet. But quarters sounds good. You'll get a couple of teams in the quarters, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that.
Fair.
Yeah, totally agree. I'm going through the comments, and there's a lot of stuff about how the Fighting Postal Service could run the ball yesterday on NDSU. So is everybody else. I mean, I don't think we need to touch that.
That is Matt's strength.
Here's the thing. Yeah, the strength on strength. My thing is, you look at the NDSU side of the bracket. I don't see anybody who can stop their run game.
I agree. That's the thing too.
Sanford, yeah, they could put up a billion points, but they never have the ball because NDSU's putting off 8-yard runs every
just
play.
A gap every play.
Considering there was 31 points in the first quarter in Sanford Mercer, I'm not too sold on how their defense is going to hold up in Fargo. So, you look at that sort of thing. I don't see anybody until maybe Sac State who's built to be able to handle that sort of assault.
Montana was the best run defense in the Big Sky until they played Montana State. I mean, they shut down everyone's run game, and then Montana State made them look like the worst defense known to man. So it's kind of interesting. Now, I don't think North Dakota State has a run game like Montana State does this year, but that's probably your only shot on that side that can slow down, probably not completely stop it.
Nice segue into that comment there, Kyler. Do you think Montana State can make it to Frisco with touchdown Tommy's running game?
They can make it to the semis where they will literally play the best run defense in the nation. And I think that is a true strength on strength one. That's going to be a fun game to watch. I think I would take you guys, all of you guys, the hat over Montana State this year in a redemption game. Yeah, I wouldn't bet against South Dakota State and Brookings in this one. But Tommy, I mean, they got 2 quarterbacks who can run the damn ball and 5 running backs who can run the damn ball this year. It's pretty impressive.
So I've ignored Ron Lowney for the most part, but he's got a comment saying, "Don't forget what we did to SDSU last year." Ron, that was last year. Okay.
Don't worry, neither did SDSU. I promise. And that's not for the best for our defense. Ron, remember you in particular.
Hey, Ron, last year SFA was a playoff team. It doesn't matter anymore, so we can keep going from there. There's a question that said, "What are the chances a non-Big Sky or Missouri Valley Conference team makes it to Frisco, and who would it be?"
I wouldn't say the chances are very good.
Chances aren't very good, but your
Sanford, right?
That's about it.
Right? I think your best chance is Incarnate Word, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, this is sort of like if you play craps and want to go and bet 12 the entire time. Like you might hit it once, but I don't think this year with the way it's set up, it's gonna be one of those two.
Wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Somebody said EKU, absolutely not.
Absolutely not, Jabari. And also too, there's been too much KSU hate. No, there hasn't in this thing, but you know what? I'm gonna hate KSU right now. Y'all suck.
He said anything about it?
We haven't brought KSU
We
up
could
at
have
all.
KSU hate time.
He
They
just
have a
said
team?
that
They
to
have
get him in our
fans?
mentions.
You have Jabari. I'm pretty sure Jabari is their only fan, and the reason why they're going to FBS is Jabari somehow footed like the bill somehow and buys all the tickets and then gives them away. Like I'm pretty sure it's him and Nathan McCreary just making it happen. That's
That's probably
I don't
about
even know
yeah.
they play
That's
down there.
about it.
Jabari
has
is a
gone
good
on-
guy. Jabari is a good guy. He comes on our pod.
He's
We
gone
like
on-
Jabari.
He's
gone on
awesome. He's
every
on, yeah, he
podcast.
comments on all. And the best thing is he's been right about Kennesaw State because we all trolled him one time going,
Yeah.
they have no chance to be in the FBS. And then he goes, told you so. And we're like,
Yeah.
all right, we'll bow down to you, Jabari. You got that one right for sure. So, yeah.
Listen, Jabari, if I make fun of you, it means I like you. If I don't make fun of you, that means your name's Bob Ferguson from JSU, and I just kind of ignore you the whole time.
I haven't even heard that
By
name in a
name.
couple of years. Oh my god.
By name.
Oh my
That's
God.
a Facebook targeted ad right there.
Oh, sorry. Let me get some more of my juice.
Brendan, let us know what you think about Delaware.
What I think about Delaware?
I'm in Delaware.
Yeah, I can't point.
You suck. at
Brendan,
this.
not Brandon.
Oh.
This is
It's like the Brady Bunch.
we need
Brandon
one more
Smith.
person
Right
for
here.
Hollywood Squares.
Dude, I messaged. I told Jamie to get his old ass on here, and I've messaged Dallas too, and neither one of them have joined it. So I think we're going to be very off center on
Yeah,
Hollywood
what
Squares.
the hell, Dallas?
I know Dallas. You're all about this, and you don't even show up, man. Being a dad
What?
and whatever you do,
What do I think about Delaware? The team or their fans?
or the state.
Yeah.
The state? I'm in
I'm in
Delaware.
Delaware.
No, the fun fact about Delaware is SDSU's punter, he was here for 4 years, right? I mean,
Mhm.
great punter for us. Ben Dinkle is the punter for Delaware now, so he'll get to come back to Brookings and end his career there as it was supposed to anyway. So, every life's a circle.
Sorry, I'm going to put this one up. There's 8 of us for
He
one
would
thing.
get-
You
he
can't
would
count,
give-
but
He would give everybody but me a ride.
I'm dressed a little bit like with the flannel.
Yeah, at least I looked the part with my hat.
Brendan looks like the kind of guy that you'd pick up and try to see if he's carrying an axe or a case of beer. On
Remember
him.
that
And-
Bud Light commercial?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking of. He's got an axe, but he's got Bud Light. That's basically what it is.
But he's got an axe.
Oh, great commercial.
Let's see. What will it take for UND to upset Weber State?
A miracle?
Yeah.
Ask the man from North Dakota.
Yeah, come on, Mr. Frazee. This is your neck of the woods, man. What do you think?
I just saw when I watched UND the other day, I just thought in comparison to the spring season when I saw them in the dome, I was like, they just look way smaller. And I don't know how you're going to go to Weber State and bring less physicality and size and come up with a victory. So if Weber State plays uncharacteristic, undisciplined, and has punts going over their heads and make dumb mistakes, I doubt they do that at home. But I think that would be the only way. If UND can capitalize off some poor play from Weber State, because I think that's going to be quite a hill to climb for UND to go win that game, because winning at Weber State is difficult. Very,
Yeah,
very tough.
If they were playing in the USPS sorting center in Grand Forks, then I would put more money on UND because they tend to win at home.
Yeah, they're a
But
much better
They're
home
trash
team.
on the road.
They're good at losing people's mail and all that at home. They're comfortable there, but on the road, man, they just can't do it. So
Well, they played really bad offensively yesterday, Weber State. So, I mean, if they play how they did against NAU, I mean, North Dakota could surprise them. I mean, Weber State, like I said, it seems like the front half of the year, they were way better. They're starting, and I don't know why it is. It looks like they're starting this decline a little bit. They're not as effective. So if I'm Weber State, I wouldn't be super happy about this matchup. You're probably still going to win, but I don't think this is something you're just as guaranteed as like SDSU fans when they look at that bracket and they go, oh yeah, we're going to be in the semifinals. I think everyone would say, yeah, I don't think this is going to be a battle.
They
Is
going to match
NAU
up with Belquist and Mog on the outside for UND. Yeah.
Get this suck.
Is NAU that team that drags you down to their level and makes you play with them? Because
Yeah.
everybody's struggled with them this year, right?
Yeah.
If you play at Flagstaff, it is weird because it's like 8,000 feet up. But for some reason, even if Weber dominates everyone, if NAU is that only team that they always struggle with, even if other teams are blowing out NAU by 40, I don't know what it is. It's a real rivalry game. But yeah, I mean, NAU and Weber, they're like 29 and 28 in their series. And it's always bad. It's ugly football.
Their trophy was nice looking, though.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, it's cute. Kind of like that fake JSU trophy. Very cute.
I've already told you it's cute.
Can we name that trophy the Owens?
The Owens.
I will personally claim it and destroy it.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I shouldn't beat a dead horse, but they kind of deserve it for that.
Facebook user's the best.
When's the last time Chad got called majestic?
Well, you've seen me run at softball. You would say it's majestic.
That is majestic. that is eloquence and grace.
You wait. We win the natty. You'll see me running 100 yards.
I'm
calling for oxygen.
No, you
afterwards.
won't. You'll see him run about 35, and then he's gonna catch you. Then he's gonna get the turf monster,
or
then he's
I'll
run
over somebody. You know,
so
right.
I need
child.
I need someone listening, because here's what I want to see. If SCSU wins the natty and Chad runs from the end zone out onto the field, I want someone to do side by side of Matt's run last year and Chad's runs this year.
Have a race.
I guarantee I'll look more manly.
The problem there is that you can't insult the guy who's never admitted he's ever been manly ever. I've never been like, yeah, Matt's a man. No way.
I'm just a giant human. So,
dude,
know.
I was running with a thought of like, as I was running on that field, I heard the roar of the crowd get really loud, and all that went through my mind was, oh, this is what the streaker hears before the security guard wipes them out. And I just was like, here it comes. It's right behind me, but it was just Jordan Finkston, and everything worked out. So.
Yeah, my favorite thing was watching the security officer chase you for about 30 yards and then be like, fuck it.
Yeah, just 10 feet just went,
it's not worth it. It's fine. There's going to be more coming. We don't care.
I've seen all you SDSU people in person.
Get on.
It's going to look like, if you guys storm the field, it's going to be like Vikings running across a country to take a village.
Yeah.
Just
a very
giant,
overweight
huge,
Viking.
You guys, giant, huge men.
You guys are all what, 6'5"? Like, isn't that what they all make for SCSU people?
No, that's short.
Isn't that the minimum height to go to SCSU?
Yeah, that's minimum.
Yep.
Jolly Green
6'1", 330. I'm not that big.
You're still taller than I am, so.
There we go.
There it is.
The Owens.
It looks like something you would get at a sales corporate meeting that goes, hey, you were salesman of the year.
They had a sale on Menards for Micah. Let's make a trophy.
Second prize is a set of steak knives.
Can they use the ASUN logo? Is that
That's what I thought. I was like, man, ASUN, if they really wanted to.
Does it really matter because they're leaving? Like, who cares? I mean, yeah, I'm sure the ASUN loves them.
They're technically still in the ASUN though.
I mean, I'm sure the ASUN loves them because they gave them a basketball berth last year. They didn't deserve to March Madness, so I'm sure they'll get away with it. Let's see.
He looks different holding a trophy, doesn't he?
Here we go, right here. Looks like a middle school science trophy.
I'm telling you, it looks like somebody just broke their old countertop off and threw an ASUN logo on it.
Yeah, it's like the joke. It's like, hey, we're demoing a house. Hey, we can make a trophy out of this. That's basically what they did. Will, this is a good question for you. What does Parker McKinney need to worry about Gardner-Webb's defense? Will EKU get their first playoff win since beating Boston University in 1994?
Jeez.
That happened before you were born, Will.
Wow. 4 years before I was born.
Jesus.
I have no idea about Gardner-Webb's defense. I don't know what kind of defense they play, but if you give him space to work, he's got some good receivers too. They find space, he's going to find them. So I don't know what the blueprint is to beat that. But you got to lock him down. You got to get to him quick, and you can't let him get out of the pocket because he doesn't look like he would be that athletic, but he is. So if you got to worry about a defensive line, I think, because if you got a defensive line with Gardner Webb that can put pressure on you and keep you in the pocket, then he might have a tough time. But I don't think he'll have any trouble with Gardner
When you
Webb.
look at the record, it looks like the
I
way to
watched
beat
Gardner
Webb
Webb.
is not being in the Big South.
Yeah, I watched Garner Webb versus NCA&T, and my thought process in that first half wasn't like, wow, these are really good defenses. My thought process was, boy, I hope we get to play one of these teams and have our defense outscore their own offense, because these offenses are bad.
Yeah, Jim Poppin says participation trophy. Ariel says it does look like a countertop. And then this guy says, you're trashing our trophy. Watch Kennesaw State do the exact same thing next year when they, quote, win, unquote. First of all, Kennesaw State sucks.
They won't
They're
do
not
that.
winning next year. So first they have to figure out how to do something besides the triple option. So they'll be, 6-5 again next year, or 5-6 or whatever they finished out at this year. I can't remember. So that's probably not anything we have to worry about. Kyler,
can't chop block. It's the triple option's dead.
Kyler, do you like the Great Divide Trophy?
You mean the big pile of Triceratops poop in Jurassic Park? that is all that thing looks like. Awesome rivalry, great atmosphere. It's amazing. Again, it's supposed to be this ugly mountain you guys claim over there in Montana, but dude, that looks like the poop in Jurassic Park, where she sticks her hand in it. It's ugly. Ugliest trophy in the world.
First of all, the best trophy in college football is SFA Northwestern State's Chief Cato. That's
Brandon just saw it. He's like, "Oh, that's Jurassic Park."
Yeah.
Great Divide makes some good beers. Yeti comes to mind.
Yeah, they got a lot of great things. Ugly ass trophy.
Oh, I like this question. Should NCAA have allowed the Tommies into the field? My answer is yes, because if you're playing up and manage to run through your conference, it's like UCA in 2008. You should get into the playoffs. Like you did it with less. It's not that you're punching down in terms of having more scholarships. You're punching up at that point, and the Tommies are punching up with D3 players.
Dumbest rule ever.
Did they finish undefeated in the Pioneer?
They did.
Only loss was to Southern Utah, like 44-14.
Yeah.
So they finished the season 10-1.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they not in the playoffs?
Because of the transition rule.
Same reason you went to the NCAA tournament last year.
Yeah, same reason you went to
That's dumb and stupid.
Hey, that's the same reason why you went to March Madness last year.
Again, that is dumb and stupid.
Makes no sense.
And it's for a non-scholarship league too, so it's even worse. Like ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's a joke.
Does D3 actually allow scholarships? Maybe that's the only. Okay, I was like, maybe that's the only league where moving up to the FCS, you actually lose scholarships. But, okay.
So St. Thomas, when they were D3, my wife's cousin played for them for a while, so went to a few games, and they were actually picking up SDSU transfers a few times up there in the cities. So interesting program for sure. So rich history of winning. So big jump.
A lot of money.
Maybe we can see them in the Valley at some point.
I'd take them over Murray State.
I would take them over Murray State in a heartbeat, and they fit in, I think, better in the Valley sort of footprint that currently exists. Kendall says a lot of bitching earlier today about the FAMU snub. Without them, who's capable of losing by 24 in the first round by a team down by 39 in the second. Wow.
That was so eloquently written, too.
That was smooth.
That's the kind of shade I want to see out of these comments. People
so much shade.
I mean, but here's the thing: you look at FAMU, like with
Gardner
them,
Webb.
like who? I mean, their resume. I mean, it's kind of I don't know. They got Lehigh. I think they got.
It was meh until you got to the strength of schedule. They are 108 in the FCS.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
And a big difference between last year and this year is the Jackson State last year was super close. 7-3, I think, was the final. 76. And they lost by almost 50 points this time. So their resumes actually mirror each other from last year and this year. They're very, very, very close. But they got blown out by Jackson State, combined with the fact that the bubble was huge. Remember last year, the Rattlers are probably not in last year unless absolute chaos happens. And there were so many teams that lost in that last week. I remember it destroyed our selection mock special, and that really gave them an opportunity to get in there. So it was just a tough hill to climb. So there were some differences this year of why they were left out. Strength of schedule, lack of quality wins are the big ones. Yeah. And of their 9 wins, 1 was not FCS, so it's technically only 8 on the committee.
Mm-hmm. General question, call me biased, but I love FCS football. Do you think the previous good FCS teams, fans, App State, Georgia Southern, et cetera, missed the playoffs? No, they don't.
I think they miss it, but they wouldn't take what they have now.
Exactly.
Over.
I think at times they miss it, but overall they don't miss it.
Georgia Southern's on hard times, but App State, not a single fan you're going to find who doesn't love the FBS, obviously. But even Georgia Southern and others, the money, the involvement, the television revenue, the experience of the bowl games. JMU fans that I know well, and you guys know on Twitter, they are talking to these fans, and the fans love the jump. They appreciated their time in the FCS. But if you're in the right position, naturally you want to go up. You just don't want to go up in a bad spot. And that conference in the Sun Belt is really well built.
And their TV contract doesn't suck either.
In the right position isn't Fargo? Is that what you're saying?
They're not the cold Hawaii up north, basically. So getting an invite's not as hard.
Well, let's be
yes, Fargo, the Hawaii of the North. Yeah, it's called. That's what I said when I lived there.
Yep. Do you get greeted with frozen Lays when you get off the plane in Fargo?
100%. Yep.
Oh yeah. Hey,
actually made out of cowboy rope.
I was like, or is it lutefisk or whatever you have? Like, what is the some crappy food? Like, what I'm trying to figure out what you get when you go to Fargo because I still haven't been.
As soon as you walk off the plane, you lose your breath in between that little gap of the tunnel and the plane. That's what you get. And then you're like, I've made a terrible mistake.
Did you just slander lutefisk, Rev?
I was going to say lutefisk.
What?
Good, yeah.
What's wrong?
What?
Rev? You don't want your fish cured in lye? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, sorry guys. It's just I don't like seafood, so let's just keep it there. I don't. Sorry, I like beer. I don't need aged fish and lye or whatever the hell you put it in.
The great Midwestern tradition of seafood.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. Lake food. Lake food.
As Rev lives on an island.
Yeah, actually, that's true. I live 5 blocks from the ocean, and I don't eat fish. I eat shrimp and crab, but not fish. But there's some great Midwest traditions like casseroles, great traditions up there, and all those things. Texas State missed the playoffs on their FCS. Sterling missed the postseason. Now, I already pointed out that they jumped a decade ago and they haven't made the postseason. So
it's just embarrassing. Portland State beat them like 56 or 65-7 or something a few years ago. That was bad.
Wasn't that North Texas instead of Texas?
Oh, maybe that was North Texas.
No, that was North Texas. Ariel,
green.
Ariel, the answer here is not at all. Not at all. That's not happening. Sorry. Not
the for you, right?
We're not making lutefisk.
Do you even know how to make lutefisk?
I'll take
because I'm from God's country in Wisconsin.
So onion rings, butter burgers, cheese balls, and Bloody Marys, right?
I'll take some
and horseradish.
I'll take some chislick or whatever you have.
Chislick's awesome.
That sounds good.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, I'll do chislick. That sounds
Chislick.
Chislick is great. I mean, you cube up meat, you deep fry it. Can't get any better.
Yeah, that sounds like a win.
It's incredible. It is incredible.
Joe loved it. When he was in.
I thought those guys were gonna faint when they tried it. They liked it so much.
How drunk were they when they tried it though?
I was at the.
It was in the morning. Yeah.
Okay.
They hated our pizza though.
They were still hungover. Yeah, they hated our pizza.
Yeah. They don't know real good pizza, I guess. But whatever.
Yeah, the East Coasters don't know that pizza.
They just have
like that burnt crust from the Napoli style. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun to troll them.
No. Wow. You're gonna get hate mail from South Dakota. Jesse's one of our guys.
That's okay. Can we get featured on a hype video again? Like that's all.
Is that the highlight of your year?
Listen, man, you know how many views we got that week from you guys being so damn salty because our guest insulted you. I mean, he was completely wrong, but I mean, golly, are your roads iced over yet? They shouldn't be. You got enough salt up there to keep them clear for at least a few more months.
We got to do something to keep the roads from icing over. Except for there's a section right up to North Dakota. We keep that slippery on purpose, and they think we don't plow it because we don't have plows. We have the plows. We just don't want them coming down here.
That's not nice, but it's funny.
You typically plow it on the first or second week of January. It seems to always be open.
Oh.
That one felt good.
Oh,
He's proud of himself for that one.
Yeah, he's doing. Yeah.
Matt was just
Like I haven't been a
sitting there.
Bison fan yet, but here comes my inner douchebag.
Yeah, that whiskey finally kicked in for Matt. He
That was
ready
well
to go.
played, Matt. That
It
well
was
done.
it was just I was like, I can't let it go.
Can't let that one slide. I get it.
Love it. Love it.
I'm still recovering from that transfer portal comment, so now I think we're close to even.
Speaking of transfer portal, did you see Phoenix Sproles committed?
I did see Mr. Sproles going
Where'd
to
he-
James
where?
Madison.
James
James
Madison.
Madison. Good for him.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't surprise me that would attract Bison players to go that route. I'm not saying JMU copy and pasted NDSU. That would be, they did things in a different way, but they certainly, when Mike Houston was there, said, hey, we've got to copy this model if we're going to be able to compete, and we have to get to where NDSU's at. So it's not surprising that culturally to go up into the FBS, that's not a good fit, and they've had success right away. So good on them. Hopefully that last season, the James Madison fans have been messaging me. They say that'll be a need for them next year. So I hope he finds a good fit. And they certainly pass the ball a lot more than NDSU. So hopefully he'll get good opportunities. But I think that's a good way to go. Wouldn't shock me to see more of it in the future, honestly.
I like how you just said, I'm not saying that they copied and pasted NDSU, but Mike Houston copied what NDSU did.
I mean,
It's like-
he even said it. I mean, he's like, we got to get bigger on the lines, and we got to, he talked all about it. So
You know why Jamie's not on here? This FCS Fans Nation is a cover for him. He's a sleeper agent for JMU. He's picking up on
there you go.
who the top players are and trying to get him to transfer.
He's
to
just bringing
JMU.
him in.
Jamie's already working the portal right now. Like
He's working
playing
the portal
chess.
right now. Yeah,
Dang.
he's playing chess
3D
overall.
chess.
And,
Oh, I'm
and he's
going to
got
be a
football and
top
basketball
25
covered.
voter, so I know the level.
Yeah, scouting players. Wow, the glass is shattering. I think you got him, Thumper. That's
Right.
it.
I got
What a-
Nothing, Todd. We got a warm-up game.
Yeah, I mean,
Jeez.
Jesus, Chad.
Chad.
How many billboards do you want to be on here, bud?
All of them.
Jesus Christ.
man, I was gonna be nice and then just never mind. We'll just. You should give yourself another drink on that one, Chad. That was pretty good.
I'm all out. I got eggnog and a mojito.
I can tell.
Eggnog and a mojito.
And I
Chad,
got
we're
a-
going to talk about this later, man.
Oh, he's getting fined. Fine him.
Jamie Williams is on, and he's not on. What?
Yeah, he's
Jamie,
he's,
get
he's
in here.
watching. He's watching, but instead of instead of helping me fulfill my dream of having Hollywood Squares or the Brady Bunch, he's instead in bed, probably.
He's naked in a beanbag chair eating Cheetos.
It's a
Okay,
horrible
my
visual.
comment seems pretty muted now.
Oh my god.
At least he ain't got pocket cheese when he's naked.
Well, that'd be a nasty pocket to use. You can't do that.
That sounds like blue cheese at that point.
That gives you O-ring problems to use that pocket.
Where's
Don't want to blow out an ordering.
Oh god.
Where's Jim Poppin to reel us back in here?
Yeah, where is Jim Popping? He said something about spicy meatball, but let's see. Everybody's saying 3 weeks off. Said Jamie had a cat nap. That's cute, Ron. We'll put that up there just because that was cute, even though
He likes his emoticons, that Ron Lowney. You wouldn't guess he's 50 years old, but apparently.
He let's see. Poppin says it cut his pay.
I represent Hero Sports. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Rolling down the mountain or that Triceratops poop that you had on the trophy.
Okay, I've got a real question to get us back on.
Okay,
So,
please, thank God.
Why would you do that?
I know.
This is what I wanted though out of this podcast, and now you want to make it like. Go ahead, Will.
Legitimate.
Yeah.
If you had to bet on the field, meaning non-XDSU, to win, not just make it to Frisco, but win in Frisco, who would it be?
Incarnate Word.
Oh,
So this is not
Montana State. Yeah.
keeping in mind
NDSU,
that they
not
have to
SDSU.
keeping in mind they have to get through like one of like
Well,
they
I
would
have
have to get
two-
through South Dakota State.
I have two non-XDSU teams in the semis, so it's one of those two, and I think Incarnate Word is the better one.
I think if you look at the path, it's Incarnate Word.
Yeah.
So that would be my thing, because they would completely avoid SDSU. They would avoid Montana State. They would have to go through
only NDSU, Sac State.
Yeah, and I mean, and they might match.
That's all.
Only.
Brendan with a wardrobe change.
Brendan, yeah. What's up, bud? Nice look.
Rep for
Dukes.
a good buddy Phoenix.
Yeah. Anyways, like
I'm sorry, Matt. I'm sorry.
That's a good question.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was distracted. Something about Phoenix.
He's reading more of transfer news, and he's like,
Yeah, I'm like, here goes the whole.
All right,
offensive
what's
line.
Jamie been up to next?
Off they go, crazy. I don't know, maybe as much as I just insulted him, but I can't pick NDSU, SDSU. Sac State.
Yeah.
If they actually were able to get there, I mean, they just keep winning. And I mean, it might seem easy to pick them over Montana State, but I don't know. I think maybe I could put Sac State in there if I don't have to pick the Dakotas at all. So
they just don't look impressive watching them, but they grind people out at the very end, and it's just like they wear teams down in the fourth quarter and just kind of do whatever they want at the very end. It's kind of weird and annoying.
And maybe that can win in the playoffs when things get honestly more simplified. People think it gets more complicated, but it really gets simple. The bigger line, the time of possession, and Sac State could be a team. Who knows?
Yeah, Todd says not buying Sac State, and I kind of agree. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree with that. Like I don't, to Kyler's point, I mean, it's just that they wear down who they're playing. I just wonder if that ability to do that's gonna run out when they play a team like Incarnate Word, who's gonna treat it like a video game, or they play, what I mean? Like I think just at some point that's gonna stop, and they're gonna be well overmatched.
I kind of have to go with Montana State. I mean, maybe it's some recency bias from what we saw yesterday, but they beat the shit out of Montana, and that dual quarterback formation that they were running with Malott and Chambers, my goodness, like that blew my mind with some of the stuff they were pulling out there. And both of them can throw and pass, and Chambers maybe not as much, but yeah, that's a tough offense to stop. So
that's what Kennesaw should do with the option. I mean, they should kind of evolve to something like that, because it's very option like, but I mean, they're doing. It's just a confusing thing to stop right now.
And to prepare for all that, my goodness, you can't.
Yeah, Yoshi thinks UIW make a run. I agree with you, Yoshi. Hopefully UIW doesn't lay an egg like I think they'll do. I think they'll make a decent run. Let's see. Just had another minute, they would have scored and beat Sac State.
If ifs and buts were candy and nuts.
Blame that return. Whatever the hell Davis did on that return.
That was awful.
That was stupid. I mean, they drove down the field pretty easy, but they wasted 15 seconds. That's stupid return.
Yeah, you could do the ifs game on a whole bunch of things like that. Like if SFA had held on for all 60 minutes, they would have probably been in the playoffs this year.
If Eastern won every game, we'd be pretty damn good.
Yeah, if UCA hadn't lost to Lindenwood, they might be in the playoffs this year. Like you can't do this. You can't do all the ifs.
Salt in the wound.
Listen, you beat us 34-7. I don't, you're fine. You're fine. Will. You're fine. Will. You got to enjoy my hospitality in Nacogdoches. So,
if there was a team that came out of South Dakota State's corner that wasn't South Dakota State, who would it be?
One of the Patriot League. No, I'm kidding. I don't.
Holy cross.
Maybe.
I mean, that Delaware win at Navy kind of makes you think, okay, they got a FBS win out of there. So,
what did Holy Cross?
But we've seen Delaware go to SDSU before. I know, different season, different circumstance, but oh boy, yeah, that's a tough question. You got to pretend that SDSU just forgot to show up to the game in this scenario for them to lose, because I just do not see it. I mean, if you're gonna bet against Mark Gronowski at this point, I don't know what to tell you in Brookings throughout the playoffs. So there's just, that guy has an Easton Stick factor that is crazy. I think he's a little more edgy, cocky. Easton Stick was probably the most humble human on planet Earth, more than anybody I've ever heard of in my life. But Gronowski is, with that SDSU team around him, they're going to be so tough to beat. I know I skipped your question over, but I just can't even fathom that happening. So.
Holy Cross did play SDSU close though for a quarter or half. I forget what it was in the spring playoff season. You know, they're talented. They've been to Brookings, so that's not going to be something new. We'll just see what the weather's like. It's going to be a lot colder than it was that day, likely.
Yeah, I want to show something from the group chat that has to do with JSU's trophy. I'm going to try to hold it up and see if you guys can see it or not. It might take. I might have to just pop it up. Or somebody who's on Twitter right now wants to pop it up. Lawrence drew a picture of Jacksonville State's trophy.
It's great,
and or one like that, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
It's so good.
let me log into my Twitter real quick, and I'll pull it up and share it. Because you guys talk amongst yourselves. I didn't mean to throw off the. Here's a topic: Rhode Island, neither a road nor an island nor a playoff team. Discuss.
Yeah, they're not either.
Yeah.
I mean, ended discussion.
I think the playoffs this year are going to be very boring on South Dakota State's side, similar to how I felt in the spring season with them. And I think if there is chaos, it will be on that NDSU side of it. I know that seems like oh, wow, Matt, you just blew everybody's minds. But like the idea that matchup is just locked and loaded, NDSU versus SDSU, I don't know about that, but I feel very confident that SDSU is going to get there at a minimum. So that's kind of how I'm feeling about the playoffs right now.
It's a good trophy.
Yeah.
It's a beauty.
That's a beauty, Clark, right there. I was going to show Jamie Williams' trophy too, but I didn't feel like, blasting who he worked for. So we'll leave that one alone. But I mean, this is actually a better looking trophy than what JSU has now. So.
Man, I said that, but I was on mute.
All right, guys, we're at an hour and 20 minutes. We're at 100 viewers, which is kind of cool too. So thanks to everybody who has come on. Let's see.
Is that a Montucky hat? That's rad.
Yeah, it's my Montucky hat. I actually have two Montucky hats. I actually got this one for free from them. They sent it to me. Let's see. Brian says, let's give credit where it's due. The Taco King was the first to trash on Roberts' JSUA Sun Champs post. I think a lot of people. Jamie says that song came out before Lawrence was born. And
Will's on mute, but he was saying I got called a bitch at 5 a.m.
I did. It's true. I woke up to some drunk dude in my mentions because he misspelled like 4 words.
Will won one of them.
He did not misspell.
Was he looking for Will Siller instead of Siler?
Yeah, I don't know. He got the wrong guy, but
close.
Matt, who concerns you most on your bracket?
On our side of it?
Yeah.
Honestly, like it's not as much as a Sac State. I think some sort of quick flying offensive team that gets started fast might give NDSU trouble. So yeah, I don't know. I think like a Sanford or an Incarnate Word kind of makes me a little bit more worried this year, just because the dome's not going to be sold out and they come in, you get a hot start. Things could, and then that's where it's like, well, NDSU is going to be NDSU, but we've seen so many discipline and like mental mistake errors that are not typical. That's not a team that goes that, you go down 10, 14 points. You're like, well, it's the buys and they'll be fine. I don't know. This year's been different. So a team like that actually scares me more than they do in the past in comparison to where, and yeah, I was wrong there a little bit, not strength versus strength, but where it's more comparable. I'll just take NDSU with the edge to do what they do. So that's actually what scares me a little bit more is a team like that coming in. Yep. You don't have an NFL caliber QB to bail you out if you get into a shootout match, as much as I love Cam, the way Carson Wentz did in 2014. So, and I think this NDSU team is very comparable to that 2014 roster minus Carson Wentz at quarterback. And that was a tough playoff run. And Wentz drug us all the way through it. SDSU fans remember, Coastal Carolina fans remember, Illinois State fans remember. Outside of Sam Houston, it was literally the Wentz show for game winners in every single game.
Yep.
So
thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Geez, way to bring up.
That doesn't translate well.
That's Scafford.
Probably owed us that one.
It. All right, so real quick, to wrap this up, I'm just going to go around the horn. I'll start at the top. Who are your 2 Frisco teams? Matt, Mr. Frazee, we'll start with you. Who are your 2 teams playing in Frisco?
I tweeted out at the beginning of the year that I've never bought into this is the best year for SDSU or NDSU to meet in the finale. and this was the first time I was willing to admit it. And I'm going to stick with that. South Dakota State, I think, is a shoe-in, despite what these guys are trying to play against their hearts. They also told me about UNI and these other teams that we're going to maybe beat them. And
that was really close to being true.
That was super close.
I
was shut your mouth.
There was a game that was a
that was
South
an ugly
Dakota
game.
stumble. That was that one.
Might have won that after time ran out. Right?
Glad y'all didn't choke.
I'll go SDSU and I'll go NDSU to meet in Frisco, and I'm gonna hate it every second of it.
Yeah, Will.
I don't want to just pick the South Dakota State, North Dakota State. So I'm going to say South Dakota State and Sac State. Just because I'd love to see that matchup. Just because everybody debated who's number one all year. I think that'd be fun.
Brendan? Mr. Thumper?
Oh, we're going this. We're doing this.
Yeah.
I thought it was this is Hollywood Squares. Okay.
Sorry, I haven't gotten to Center Square yet, so...
I would love to not say a marker rematch. I did not think that there was any way that the marker rematch was probably going to happen because just having two highly seeded teams from the same conference is pretty rare, and it happened for two conferences. So guess I was wrong there. I'm not mad about it. I don't see anybody on the NDSU side who's actually going to challenge them to have to throw the ball, and so Cam Miller's going to keep making the same amount of attempts that the Citadel's quarterback makes. So I think that's going to be able to hold true, and they're going to be able to ride that pony into the Frisco, and I think that's a good chance for SDSU to make it. And if SDSU gets clipped by Montana State's going to get destroyed by NDSU again, because NDSU will have 3 weeks to sit and plan for that goofy offense that they run. So that's my prediction.
All right. Joan Rivers, Kyler, Center Square. What do you have?
I see how this is. If I'm being realistic, probably Davidson and St. Francis, probably.
Well played, sir.
No, I mean,
Well
we're just all doing cop-out answers because it's what we all think. I think it's going to be the marker. I mean, yeah, I bet on that.
I was looking to see if anybody was brave like Brandon Owens was last week to change his ACU SFA bet and go against what everybody thought. So, Brandon?
As much as I want it to be South Dakota State Incarnate Word, I have to go with the marker. The facts and the stats just back up that there will be a marker game in Frisco this year.
And it's what to me, it seems like it's what they want. They want that game. The NCAA, the committee, they want that matchup. So, Chad?
I don't want that matchup.
Well, y'all are wrong because the marker game's only held during the regular season. But that doesn't change who's going to be playing in the national championship, likely.
Yep. Other Podfather?
Yeah, I'm going SDSU and Sac State. So, yep.
He's picking
faith in Sac
1 and
State.
2. Wow.
Yep.
I got Rev. Can I ask one question before we go?
Yeah, of course.
For the SDSU crew, would you rather lose in the second round in an upset, or lose to NDSU in Frisco? I will tell you right now, I would rather lose in the second round. I'm just being honest, than lose to South Dakota State in Frisco. What is your answer to that question?
I almost spat out my beer whenever you said that.
I sure hope we win. That's my answer.
That's not.
Because I was about to say,
What a coward answer.
Oh, that's like picking a whole position group. Ask Matt about it.
Oh, I'd rather
Jamie
second round.
We're locking that in for Jamie. Someone screenshot that.
Yeah,
There's
Jamie's
a comment below
lying,
it.
but we're gonna make it that's his pick.
We're gonna make it that this is pick. It says kidding below here, but we're not gonna show that.
Nope.
In fact,
I got it. Don't worry, guys.
I'd
we got
rather
two
lose.
people that got a picture of it.
I'd rather lose down in Frisco to NDSU. This season's been pretty magical, and to lose in an upset in the second round would be devastating. I think there would be some major fallout on something like that.
Yeah. Even as someone who's not a fan, I think the same thing, because if you lose in the second round, people are just gonna come at you and say, "Wow, you guys, way to shit the bed." Basically, like you're gonna get a lot more fallout than you would if you went to Frisco and lost.
Yep.
What do you mean, Rev? I thought you were a fan.
Yeah,
you are my spring team. You are my spring team, and Wax On Weekly is the #1 SDSU podcast. But I mean, I'm just saying it would hurt. I mean, I think for anybody, it would hurt more to lose early when you're a top seed than to go to Frisco and lose there against someone who's a 2 or 3 seed.
It's definitely a perspective of the fanhood of like one fan base has, always been like, well, you can have the marker, but we win the titles. And then like, even if you won 9 titles, the one you lose finally is to the rival is like, holy, like you'll never, no matter what you say, you can be like, well, we have 9, you have 1. You'll never live it down. Where like the SDSU fan, you guys, I'm not trying to just throw it at you, but like you have lost in Frisco, you've experienced it. Like the roster, the team still gets there. You've lost to NDSU in the playoffs before. So it's definitely a perspective thing. So from the NDSU fanhood, I think that's like the worst case scenario in all of humanity, besides losing to UND and anything.
Yeah.
Well, right. Because I can see from your standpoint for you guys, because like it can get so much worse having to deal with SDSU fans, like so much worse.
No matter what happens from that point on, it doesn't matter.
Like it will never get worse than that. For SDSU fans, like, okay, like we've lost in the playoffs. We've had that rubbed in our face for the last 10 years. We've had your national titles rubbed in our face for the last 10 years. So like what, it's gonna get worse. So, but by God, if we manage to pull that one off, I have some tweets bookmarked. I'm going to put it that way.
See, that's exactly why. This is why I'm going out in the second round. See you later. Have fun. See you in Frisco.
But you know what? I will say this though. Like, I mean, that would probably be the ultimate in terms of the teams. In terms of, I think that'd be the ultimate sort of game to have in Frisco. The environment would be insane to have that game there, because we know both teams can travel well. Probably be 60-40 in the NDSU, but I think South Dakota State would bring a hell of a lot of fans down there. And it'd be an excuse to see all your lovely faces for a game that matters to half of the folks on, that really has some matters to like half the people are on here. So,
and Kyler will get a Jackrabbit tattoo.
If it covers up the Grizz one, let's do it, man.
Yes,
let's do it.
Brandon, is that a reed in your mouth?
No, it's my necklace.
Oh,
okay. All right. So, all right, guys. Well, listen, we're at an hour and a half. To everybody who came on and watched this and put all your questions and comments, thank you for coming on. To all of the folks who came on from all the different podcasts, taking time out on your Sunday night. I know the A-Team just went live and did theirs, which I caught a piece of it. It was great too. Thank you all for coming out. If you, for some reason, if you aren't a subscriber to FCS Fans Nation on YouTube, why aren't you? You get to see all of our mugs, all of our different podcasts, all the different teams you want to talk about. We have the FCS completely covered here. So I hope everybody else does what I do. Point to the bottom, like and subscribe, hit the down there. Help us get, thank you, Chad. Help us get there. We're on also too on Apple, Spotify, all the listening platforms. Jackrabbit Illustrated, they've got their Facebook page. Go give them a like. There's some great content there, great articles written. So just if you haven't subscribed, go do it. And also too, thanks. I will say this for Matt. Thanks for being part of the Facebook group. I don't know how many people are on there right now, but there's a ton. So and thanks for supporting us as we, have fun doing this. So I'm going to close out on behalf of the A-Team, the B-Team, the Big Boy Show, Eagles Power Hour, Wax On Weekly, every podcaster here. Thank you for joining us on Sunday night. Happy Selection Sunday. Hopefully we'll see y'all in Frisco.